Hi, welcome to this video. We are going to build an ISO. So that means we need knowledge from ArcoLinux ISO is for Carly. I've been working on that yesterday. ArcoLinux B, the B stands for the building. You can build any of our ISOs and change it the way you see fit. And I think that's probably the best answer for a user online. Can you make me an ISO with default Gnome? Is the question. There are lots of options, right? If you want to have a pure Gnome setup, you can use Arconet, install Gnome, and basically it's not that much. What you get is not bloated at all. I mean, let's have a look at the Calamares setup. When you select in the module ArcoLinux Desktop YAML, it's opening on this screen, and scroll down. Let me first move you over here. So if you scroll down to Gnome, GGG, here it is. That's all we add extra. But of course, Arconet has a browser already and has a lot of packages already. But as a matter for Gnome, basically we don't even install Gnome extras or extra, right? Sudo pacman -s Gnome extra is a possibility. We have not included it. You can do it later or select it here. So this is pretty much basic Gnome, but the extension manager is super interesting. So it makes it makes it simple for us to extend, right? Extension manager, Gnome to something that we like and love, right? So any of these guys can be removed up here. If you say those guys, I don't want them, fine. You just sudo pacman -r and they're gone. That's one option. Arco Pro is another option. In Arco Pro you can do the same thing. And of course Arco Pro starts with smaller amount of packages, but still few ArcoLinux packages. Next option is Arco install and use Gnome that way. And fourth option is just go with Arch. Select Gnome and build it up again, right? All possibilities. What I'd like to do is build with you an Arconet. Yeah, an Arconet on which we can eliminate already a few things. So Arconet gives you a lot of packages already that you say I don't want to have all those packages, and all you need to do is just put a hashtag in front of those that you don't want. So the easiest thing I would do is Arconet here, get and grab the code. It's all explained, but it's on the website, right? You go to your personal space here on the desktop. We still have this that can go. We git clone this. Arconet, sure. And the only thing you need to do is have a look at what we put on the ISO. So every distro is a series of choices. And in this package is a long series of choices of the things that we decide to put on here. Don't mess with the Arch ISO stuff. So this is coming from Arch ISO, from ArcoLinux, from Erlang, if you know the folder name. And these guys are pretty much, don't do it, right? Let's change to Perl. Now we see some colors. Zoom in a little bit. So things like these we keep around. We need them around, but here you can start messing with code. Software from ArcoLinux repositories. So this is from ArcoLinux repository, not from the ArcoLinux repository. But if you don't use Super Shift D, that thing up here, then you don't need the D menu. If you don't like Firefox, all you need to do is hashtag. Save. And you go down the list and you say, okay, what things do I need? What fonts do I want? What Arc theme? I don't like Arc theme. I think he mentioned that on YouTube. Not a fan of Arc GTK theme. Boom, it's out, right? Bash completion, I would just do that because it completes with tap tap in your terminal. Some things will not work anymore since bat is somewhere in aliases. So if you go for alias, we have quite a few aliases. And of course, some of these things rely on applications. If you start removing them, okay, the consequence is that the alias won't work. But that's okay if you know. Duff, maybe you don't like Duff, and on you go, right? You just select and see, what do I want? What do I keep? And just go down the list. And if you build them, you get at least less packages on Arch. Up here, the ArcoLinux repos. If you say, I don't like the cursors they're using, right? Fine, it's just a cursor, it's just a wallpaper, just an icon theme, it's just a wallpaper, right? Choose what you like. But the thing is, if you do it this way and you build the ISO, you don't need to remove it later. That's the only advantage, right? Sudo pacman, if you just download the default, you do later on sudo pacman -r. And if you say, I'll make my selection beforehand, then you don't need to remove it later on. So you have an ISO that you have already tweaked a little bit and said, I don't want INC. INC is not interesting. I don't want Minstick to burn ISOs or to format my USB and so on. It's all about choices. It's nothing more than choices. You can remove any of the ArcoLinux stuff. Of course, you'll run into several issues, I suppose, right? But it's up to you. You make your decision, and I'm happy with that, right? It's okay, it's cool. So when it starts getting technical, like these things, I wouldn't change those, because in Calamares we do say copy paste over. And if we can't copy paste over, it just depends what Calamares will do. Is the error okay and it just goes over it, or it just stops everything? So you'll have to try and see, okay, what can I remove? I like the Japanese, Korean, Chinese. It's only there if you boot up, and you need to remove it yourself later on, because by default we don't remove it later on. No, we don't remove it. I have a script, ArcoLinux Nemesis script, and remove Japanese and Korean and Chinese in it, because hey, not for me, right? So choices, 2 packages, that's all it takes, and you have XFC4. You don't like our wallpapers, but then of course you'll get a black greeting screen. Everything has a consequence, but you're free to do whatever you want herein in this list of packages. All right, so that's maybe, I think, the best way to do things. And of course then you need to select, you make an Arconet ISO, you boot up, you go to advanced, you select Gnome, but you can select less packages and just the Gnome or the Gnome extras, and then install, and then you get a well, cleaner system. But it's really up to you to investigate how clean do you want the things to have, right? That's just a list, a packages list that you need to go over. Sparklines, I don't think people really gonna miss sparklines, but I would, because clean is this. And why does it exist? If I'm running scripts like thousands and thousands of screens later, and I want to start again something, I start first with a line. So when I scroll up, I know here we started with a new command. So for me, it's a visual line. This is where it started, the next script or the next command. So small things that over 8 years time we said that would be nice, that would be handy. RIP is there, stuff that we actually really would miss, and I do miss them when I'm on Arch. And then we have the ArcoLinux Nemesis script. So that's maybe the best tip ever. It's still open, sure it is. So github.com /Dubois. ArcoLinux Nemesis takes control over anything, right? Anything is really a big chunk. That means Buns and Labs, FreeBSD, GhostBSD, Debian, Peppermint, Pop, Alma Linux, Anduin, Ubuntu, Void, Nubara, and all the arches. All the arches, here we are. So ALCI is here, ArchLinux, ArchBang, ArchCraft, ArchMan. Area, Arizer, Big Linux, Kali, EOS, Paruda, Manjaro, Reborn OS, Sierra, right? Take control over whatever distribution you choose, you end up with, but you'll always have applications that you don't want and that you need. Voila, this is it. Script afterwards, do a clean install, and gradually over years of time you get this and you have what you want, and all the technicality, the switches, basically the logic, the reasoning. If this is true, if it's called archbang, if the word archbang is inside ETCOS release, then we're on archbang, then we do this and then that and then that. And this is how you take control over any system. So that's my take for the user, how to make a minimal GNOME. There are 4 options I've told him on YouTube, but this would be nice. Well, project Arconet, and then remove anything you don't like if you go over the lists, and later on just select advanced GNOME, done, and see what you get. All right, enjoy.